to you, please. Thank you. Before we actually get started, this is Candidates Night. There's going to be a few changes in the way we structured the meeting tonight. First of all, I'd like to introduce Mr. Vince DeShara from Holiday City South. He will be the moderator tonight. We'll give him a warm welcome because he's here donating his time to help us. All right, so the way it's going to go, we're going to do, first of all, we're going to do a roll call. I'm going to ask to forego the minutes of the last meeting. And I'd like to keep the directors and committee reports very much to a minimum tonight because we are going to have a long night. And if we can keep that, if anything can be held until the next meeting, please hold it till then. So right now, I'd like to start out. We can have a couple of directors' reports. We'll start at the right, Mario.
You want me to start first?
Yeah.
Is it 5 minutes?
No, Mario, this is the director's report.
Oh.
Turn your mic on.
So far, everything is going fine. We have less complaints than we ever had before. I'm still working on a lot of different things that were damaged by people's the houses. That's slowly being repaired, and the problems are getting less and less and less. But I still have to keep on certain things that sometimes are delayed by the contractor, and I have to push them to get them done. But so far, so good, and the complaints are coming in at less time. But I'm doing my best. Thank you.
Joe.
I'm the co-director. We approved 20 applications for modifications this month, and we had to deny one. And it's basically what we did this month.
All right, Barbara.
If I can. In the general account, we have $392,950.92. In the payroll account, $22,230.25. And in capital improvement, we have $651,384.81. Our grand total is $1,066,565.98.
That's it. Mary? Nothing. Karen?
Okay, as I'm sure everybody knows, Greg Loretta left. He's no longer with us. Shannon Kennedy has taken over his place. He went out and he already got his approval to become a pool operator. He took all the tests, he went to the classes, he did everything he had to do. So he's kind of managing the place right now. The stone in the front and the back are completed. That's all done. Please, anybody who's coming here, do not smoke in the back or the front, up on the stairs here. The pools have been winterized. We're looking for air purifiers for all the small rooms in Clubhouse 1 and Clubhouse 2. So this room is all done, but we're trying to find air purifiers for all the small rooms. We're moving the stone from the back of the bocce courts and any stone that's left over from here to behind the hill, behind the pools, because we always have a problem with the ground washing away. We had to put new fixtures in the bathroom in Clubhouse 1 by the library for the main bathroom that gets used by everybody. The toilet bowl was cracked and so was the sink. They've been running cables for the bingo. They are, right now, the maintenance people are painting Building 1 and Clubhouse 1 to try to match this building. And the computers in the library are being repaired. One is unrepairable, so we're looking into buying one more refurbished computer for the library. So as soon as they're all up and running, they will be put back in the library. And that's pretty much it for this month.
I only have a little bit of news. We had a breakout of COVID down in the billiard room. Pretty much everybody that was down there caught it. Holiday City Carefree has closed for 2 weeks. In the advent that this might happen again, we have to be concerned about gatherings, not so much now, but naturally if we get any sort of mandates from the state, we might have to take that action. I'm saddened to say that because of that, we're going to not have our Veterans Day dance this year. That really hurts me specifically. I mean, it's hurt a lot. But we're going to do it in for safety's sake, basically. We don't want to have 300 to 400 people unmasked in the room if this is going in that direction. So we temporarily decided to hold off on it, and we will probably do something in the spring, hopefully. That's going to be the end of the director's reports. Oh, the bus contract is what we have to vote on. We put bids out for the bus contract, and Stouts was the only person, or the only group company that actually responded to us. And I believe the bid came out to $174,000, if I remember, $170,464. And it's no more expensive than it's been prior bids with them. So we kept it relatively even with them, and they're going to still do all the services for us, trips, etc. So that being said, that's it. I'm going to ask if there's any other committee report, if you could come up and try to keep it brief. We do have a long night, and I see we've got a full house. So if nobody's up, I'm going to vote. We are going to vote on that in front of the quorum here. All right, Barbara.
Yes.
For the contract, for the bus contract.
Yes.
Barbara, yes.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
Yes. Joe?
Yes. Yes.
All right, that's 6 directors. We approve the contract. Okay, I'm going to move on to really tonight's business, which is, I'm going to introduce Mr. DeChara again. This is Vince DeChara from Holiday City South. Again, he has come here on his own time to help us out, and he will take over at this point as the moderator. Each candidate is going to have a 5-minute time span to address the community for themselves. And Rich is going to take care of that. Okay? Thank you, Rich.
Good evening. I'm delighted to be here this evening, and we have a full slate. I want to go over a couple small items. There were 13 candidates. One has dropped out as of about an hour ago, Linda Rich. So we now have 12 candidates. We're going to take them in alphabetical order. And each candidate, thank you, if each candidate, the existing directors that are running are sitting at the front table. The people running for the open seats are in the back. When I call their name, if they would kindly step up to the microphone, I have a timer. I'm going to put everyone on a 5-minute timer. At the 4-minute mark, I will announce there's 1 minute left. At the conclusion, after they're seated, I'll call the next one up. So we should go through this relatively quickly. At the conclusion of the statements, I have probably 8 or 9, maybe 10 questions that came from the audience. If there are any more out there before we start or even during, just bring them up and put them on the stage. 3 of them are addressed to candidates individually. The others are addressed to anyone. So the ones that are addressed to anyone are basically to the board, and I'm going to defer those to John because he speaks for the board. Either that or someone else can just stand up and say, I'll take that question. There are some good questions, but the ones that are more specific were addressed to individual directors. So what we'll do first is I'll ask Michael Allegri to step up to the podium. And if you'll give me a moment, I'll set the timer.
Hold on a second. There.
Okay. You tell me when you're ready.
Press the button, Mike. Is it on?
No.
No.
Is the red light on?
Should light up, Mike. Green light.
How about that? Oh, wow.
If you don't mind, I prefer to sit. My name is Michael Allegri, and I am here because of awareness. It was awareness of the current board's misrepresentation of the budget report to the share owners that started it all. Awareness and studying of the bylaws that guide us all kept me going. All directors should study and understand the bylaws. I believe awareness will save us money and stabilize our fees that we've had. I started in June of 2020 when I asked my first question. I soon realized how disrespectfully share owners were spoken to and treated when we asked the board how they make decisions and what procedures do they follow. It has not been nice, and it has not been fun. Since the beginning, it should never have been a battle. I have presented to many share owners the bylaw rules, and now they are becoming more aware. The most recent infractions to your bylaws were the leasing of the property for $1 without your required votes. This resulted in a direct loss of income, $25,000 a year. $25,000 pays more than half our electric bill for the year. So this is a lot of money. In the same year, they raised your fees by $60 each. Everybody here has got to chip in another $60. That's $195,000 that they raised our fees. The same year that they're giving away $125,000. I will always protect your assets. I will not give them away. I will always act in the best interest of the share owners and the corporation. This is a corporation. I will bring back to you accountability. I will bring to you awareness. The bylaws are your Bill of Rights, and they must be obeyed by everyone. Amending the bylaws needs to be done accordingly. Be aware that without committees, all the operations will be controlled by the board of directors. This has been going on for years. I will help build committees. To me, your ideas are important, and there are no stupid questions. I will bring you verified open books that you have been missing for years. I can do more than balance a checkbook. I will bring you respectful communication, and it is important, as it is an important part of an excellent board of directors. We will not leave you in the dark. There are two primary choices in your vote decision: to accept the conditions as they exist, or accept the responsibility for changing them. If you can see the need for changing them, then you must vote for a completely new board. As you listen to the candidates tonight, I hope you hear who is representing great ideas of change and who is using scare tactics to get your votes. All the new candidates are ready and able to make
1 minute remaining.
a new board that is willing to include the share owners. I will keep you aware on every front of the corporation with committees and maintenance and spendings and budget reports and everything the new board is considering. All this will be done as guided within the bylaws. I have a list of almost 60 improvements compiled by listening to the share owners. I wish I had more time to present them today, but you can request them by the entire list by email. I hope you will make the right decisions and elect 6 new directors, and if you do, and I'm one of them, I will always be looking out for you. Thank you.
Our next next candidate is Matthewcenarelli.
Thank you.
Tell me when you're ready. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthewcenarelli. In February, my wife Victoria and I moved to Holiday City, and we lived on Aruba Court. We were very happy with the house that we bought and the neighborhood. When we purchased our home, we were given a notebook with many rules and regulations which we tried to follow, but we noticed that a lot of people don't follow. And I would like to be a board member so that I may help you figure out how to take care of all the things in Holiday City, Berkeley, the way we can do it the best. This is our community, and I'm always proud of where I live, and my house, and my neighborhood. And I would try to have everyone here help me, and there are so many things that need to be done here. And as a board member, my number one priority would be to serve the Holiday City homeowners. I just retired last week, and I will have plenty of time to do whatever I need to do. And sorry to say, my speech isn't as long as mine. Thank you very much, and if there's anything I can do for you, my number is on my application, on my resume, and I'll be here for the people of Holiday City. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Joseph Pimento.
Good evening. My name is Joe Pimento, and just a little bit about myself. My job when I was working, I was in New York City in telecommunication sales. Since retiring many years ago, my experience in HOA is I've been on the finance committee of another HOA in Hamilton, New Jersey for 8 years, which I chair. I was involved in the social club for 8 years. And I was also a board president for 6 years before deciding to sell and downsize. Basically, what I'm all about is some change. Change to improve some things, make some things better, improve some mediocrity, and just to make things right between the board and the shareholders. Everybody wants to see change, especially in their money, my money, the way it's spent. Change some of the rules and how rules are enforced, whether it's, when you're new or you're old, no matter how long you've been living here. I want to bring back the respect of the board to the share owners and the share owners to the board. It's a two-way street. All the respect is earned. And I think we all have to earn each other's respect in that. I'm working with a team of 5 candidates. Myself, Mike, Matt, and Gina. We're going to work together as a team, not as individuals. We plan on doing business a little differently here. We're going to attack every problem as a team. We're going to be held accountable for everything we do. How are we going to accomplish some of these goals? Or what are we going to do? We're going to give you complete transparency to all the shareholders, complete honesty and complete openness on all matters. We're going to give you some better communication in the bulletin, better monthly reports, better financial reports, including profit and loss, which is always seems to be missing. We're going to hold every director, whether new or old, accountable for all their actions and decision making. We're going to vote on every expenditure this board buys, whether it's a case of soda or a new roof, openly at all open meetings. So you know where, on what, and how much we're spending of your money. We're going to work as a team on every issue, whether it's grass, the pool, the clubhouse. It's not a one-man show. It's a team effort. We're going to help clean the community up. We're going to start getting rid of the outside hoarding, the vehicle issues, and we're going to hold those shareholders responsible. When you ask a question at a board meeting, if we don't have an answer, we're going to get back to you, either by a phone call or an email. We're going to make the board meetings both informative, productive, and hopefully fun. We're going to respect all the shareholders and the board members and make Holiday City a real good place to live. Board members must know a plan and understand the plan and understand the budget. Manage the association's finances, deal with disputes, discuss and carry out ideas, and listen to the share owners. Since I served on an HOA previously as board president and the finance committee, I know what the job entails. And I believe I have the necessary experience to do it well. Over time, change is needed, and I think right now is a very good time for that change. Thank you.
Well done, Joe.
Our next candidate is Barbara Edgar.
Hi, my name is Barbara Edgar.
Just push it further.
Anybody else's mic on?
That could be the problem.
It figures it'd be mine, right? Hi, my name is Barbara Edgar. I moved here in 2005 after retiring from Fuji Photo, where I worked for 35 years. And when I moved here, I became immediately a very active part of this community. You can hardly go to any meeting or any social event that I'm not there. I was then talked into running for the board, which I did, and I've been a member of this board of directors for the last 7 years. For the first year I was on the board, I handled resident complaints. I didn't know what was against the rules or not. I had to look everything up, and Henry Reinhardt, who was also on the board at that time, and I handled complaints. And you learn an awful lot when you do the complaints here. And then I also did the newspaper job that Mary is now doing very well, I might add. And then at our reorganization meeting in January, my fellow board members nominated me to become president of this board. I accepted the nomination, I became president, and remained there for 4 years. I think I did a pretty good job during those 4 years. I didn't have people yelling at me or screaming at me. Meetings were held very calmly. The questions were answered. If there was no answer to a question, we would get back to you at the next meeting so that everybody was involved with the answer. We did a lot, this board and I, in the last 7 or 10 years to bring this community up to where it is now. It wasn't easy, and there were some very hard decisions had to be made. But we made them, we did our jobs. I did a job that I'm proud of. I have no regrets for anything that I've done while I was on this board. And I ask that in good conscience, if you want to keep this community moving along and not drag it down, we need to, I just hope that you'll give me a vote. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Judith Gass.
I lived here 10 years, licensed building inspector for the state of New Maybe nobody said, does anybody in the audience have anything to say? Well, we're here, we will ask you if you have anything to say. That's what we're all about, trying to get you all involved and hear what you have to say about it. We hope that we can do everything. We hope we have your support. It's not going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be easy to fall in place and find out what has to be done, but we hope to do it. We hope to be able to get the pool open later. We hope there'll be a lot of changes in here to make everybody feel like they're included and that they all are members of the association. And I will personally do my best and ask for your support with it. I'm not going to take my 5 minutes. I don't need it. So just so you know, we're here for you. We're here. We work here. We live here. We're here for you. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Francis Corsione.
I thought you got about me.
Hi. I thought that forgot about me because I was asleep. Anyway, my name is Fran Corsione. I've been here for about 6 or 7 months. I love to get involved. I'm a businesswoman over 40 years. I do all kinds of fundraising that you can ever think of. I'm currently the vice president of the New Jersey State Columbiacs. We're affiliated with the Knights of Columbus. My voice is yours. My agenda is the same as my competitors. I'm working on the safety of the pool. And I think we should be concerned about who uses our clubhouse too, because I'm understanding people are there and it's not monitored, they're just going in. I think we should have some kind of welcome committee, because if it wasn't for my neighbors, I wouldn't know anything about this community. My neighbors were great. Thanks, Pat. I like to see different clubs and maybe review the ones that we have. I would like to have the shareholders meeting maybe in the evening more than during the day, because some of us still work. It would be a privilege and honor to serve as director at Holiday City. Thank you for your time. And if you know anybody from Springfield or Kenilworth, or as they say, exit 138, you ask about Fran Corsione, I get my job done all the time. Thank you.
Next candidate, Gina Munger.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm running for the board as a shareholder. As a shareholder, there are concerns they feel have not been met. Shouldn't all the concerns be met? No, sorry. I see myself as a person you go to with your concerns and suggestions. I want to be a directory contact first, and I will keep in contact with you with all your suggestions and concerns. My goal is to have a better relationship with shareholders. Have you heard the saying, plan the work and work the plan? I will compile all the reports and estimates for costs needed for the clubhouse repairs and upkeep. These reports will be given to each director. I will also offer to take on the duty of scheduling and monitoring the different approved clubhouse projects throughout the year. Each year I would like to reevaluate the maintenance expenses to make sure we're doing the most we can with the budget we have and not spend unnecessary. I would also like to talk about committees. That is one of our setbacks to our association. We don't have many. I would love to have more, keeping our shareholders active throughout the year. Community spirit to be brought, back to our association. We need our shareholders to feel a sense of belonging. And I want to be your voice. I want your voices to be heard. So lastly, I just want the shareholders to know my goal is to be 100% transparency like the rest of them. So you can feel comfortable that we were doing our jobs appropriately. And I'm here to commit all the time
Next up is Mary Mihalko.
You know what, in lieu of that, why don't we just Mario, shut it, please, thank you. In lieu of that mic, why don't we just move that last mic over and hit the green for somebody so that you guys can. I can go over here.
Should be good.
You can use yours, I'm just saying it's not doing that.
Oh, hello?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me? No. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
My name is, that's what it is. My name is Mary Paterno Mihalko. I have been on the board for approximately a year now. I do the bulletin. I hope everyone has been reading it and enjoying it. I've tried to add new things to it for your enjoyment. I hope you're using the recipes and looking at the pet corner and playing the puzzles and enjoying the bulletin. I also have been learning because that's something very important. I'm a theory-wide type person, and that means that I don't come in and expect to change everything immediately. I come in and observe and learn, see what has to be done, what I can help to correct, what I can do better, and learn from what has been done correctly in a well way. So that's what I've been doing, and I have seen many, many good things happen here, and I understand from many people who have lived here much longer than I, that the change has been very positive. As far as my background is concerned, I worked for the Army for 30 years, and I'm very proud and honored to say that, that I've learned many things, and I was privileged to work with some of the most brilliant scientists and engineers in research and development, and all of the things that were brought here by these people, such as GPS, radar equipment, night vision goggles, and heliotrope, balloons, anything that you would know that came from the government. And I was part of that team that brought them here, so I'm proud to say that I worked for the Army for 30 years. I worked outside of the government for another 10 years or so in management of communities such as this in Newark. And so I've had experience with senior communities and managing them. I worked as a marketing representative in housing. I worked for a short time as a teacher, and I'm glad I'm not doing that now because it's really a tough job. But most importantly, I have to say, is that I live here, and I chose this community to live and make better and help out and share whatever I can of myself and my experience to make it better. I'm only one person, but I can do what I can do. I'm available to anyone who wants to reach out and ask for whatever information I have. If you want to bring the articles to the paper, I would appreciate that because I like to give information out. And if there's anything in general that I can do for you, I will try my best. I'm not saying that I can do the world a favor, but I can try. And I'm learning, and I'm here to learn more and to actively seek your help in making this a better community for all of us, because we all live here. Thank you.
Next up, we have Mario Patino.
My name is Mario Patino Jr. Can you hear me without the mic? No. Can I use the mic?
I'm not going to take much of your time. I'm glad you weren't here. My resume in the paper speaks for itself. But what I'm about to say is going to come from the heart. Before I say anything, I want to thank this board for supporting me in my troubled times. I'd like to thank John, Barbara, Mary, Terry, and Joe. There's 2 people missing, is Beverly and Henry and Barbara Benson, when she was here. I thank them all for my, helping me go through my troubled time. But meanwhile, I have no paper in front of me, it's all coming from the heart. I did the best job I could possibly do with the task I had before me. I try to please everybody as much as I can, and I did the best. And I'm still trying to do it, even after 9 years. But I came here 16 years ago. This place was a disaster. No money, and all kind of problems. But we suffered through it with the cooperation of the present and the past directors. We managed to go through it, and we produced a lot of good things. And there's more things to come as we go along. And we try to maintain the maintenance fee where it's at, low as possible. Don't forget now, we have 2 pools, 2 buildings, and a lot of ground to cover. We are a corporation, but you gotta remember now, there's a possibility of being a whole new board. I want you to do your homework, ask the questions to everyone that's running for office. Let them know where your feelings are, what you think about what they're gonna do and whatnot. Remember, you know what you have now as a board. You don't know what you're gonna get for the future. So do your homework, ask questions, don't be afraid. If the answers are not like you want to be, then you have to decide what person you like to vote for. This is your community, support it, vote for the right person that will support you, because I always said to myself when I was voted upon, I always took care of people. People come first. And when I see a big crowd like this, I got only one picture in my head, and that's my mother. And mothers have to be supported. We're all seniors here, and we have to support ourselves. Be sure you vote for the right person. Ask questions. Don't be afraid. You can ask me a dozen questions. I'll be in the audience if you want me to after this is all over. I don't care. I'll answer the best I can. But you are in charge. It's your money. Be careful how you vote for and how the people you vote for spend it. I want to thank you, and God bless.
The next candidate would be Michael Pomponio.
Mr. Pomponio.
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to say thank you to the board for having this candidates night. I really appreciate it. I know we worked for it, and I'm glad that you guys worked with us with this. I also like to thank everybody that's out there. You're here for a reason. You want to know who you're voting for. So I commend you for all coming out tonight, so thank you. For me, let me introduce myself. My name is Michael Pomponio. I've been teaching for 27 years. I have 3 different teaching certificates in New Jersey, and I've been on several committees in the schools. Right now, and for the last 5 years, I'm on the school site council in the school I'm in. This council runs the school. All right? We make decisions on what goes on for the kids. We make decisions on what goes on for vendors that come in. So I do have a little bit of experience in that. I moved here about 3 years ago. I've also had family that's been in here for over 15 years. So I've seen what's been going on in this place. I see what's not been going on in this place, and I want to try to make a difference. Okay? One of my main things is I want to make sure that we try to keep the maintenance fees the same. I don't want to raise them. Do anything we can to keep that down. I want to try to get that parking lot back. That's an extra $25,000, $30,000 a year that can go towards it. That can help maybe not make maintenance fees go up. I want to take our tax spending down from $20,000 back down to $5,000. So this way, we have to vote in front of you about things and explain them to you, and it's not spent first and then you're told later. I will have the shareholders' best interest in mind, because I am a shareholder myself. Remember, the board works for you. You don't work for the board, okay? This is a community. We need to all get along. We need to join committees. We need to be active in here, all right? I'm very happy to see a lot of people here, a lot of familiar faces, and I see some new faces. That's great. I would like to get the community more involved. One other thing I would like to do is the office hours. I would like to have one late night in the office. Okay, this way for people that work, because I spoke to a guy at the pool, it was beginning of August, and he still didn't have his badge. He says, because I don't get home till 5:30, the office is closed. So maybe if we had one late night in the office for the people that did work, to get some things done in there, and then maybe they would be like off early on another day, so it wouldn't be extra hours. But it could help assist people that are still working. That would be great. I would like to have full transparency. We would bring things up to you, like I said, before we go do them. I would also like to clean up the common grounds. Okay, we got to make this place look good. You go to some of the other communities you drive into, and you're like, wow. I want that. I want this community to look like that. I want people to say, wow, when they come looking in here. All right, because that's going to be their first impression. It's everybody here, they're shareholders too. This applies to you. I want to make sure that we follow our bylaws. Okay, we don't have certain things going on that we have to fill out complaints for. And my major thing, and lastly, I'd like to change something with the website. Okay, I'd like to make our website more functional. Have clickable links, have all your information on there, maybe even videotape or audio tape a board meeting. So if you can't make it, it would go on there and you can listen to it at your convenience. Also have a link that would go with that. If you had a question, you could send your question to the board. We would have links on there to ask the board questions. This way you won't have to wait a month to the next board meeting or try to call somebody. You can just fill out the form online. Complaint forms can be filled out online. Maybe you can try to do our maintenance fees. Maybe you can try to do our maintenance fees, and we can pay them online, okay? We're gonna have computers in the library, we could utilize them. We could put a committee together for the website, and a committee together to actually teach people how to use the computers. I think we need to do that, we rely on that a lot now. So, if those are the things that you like, vote for me. All right, thank you very much for everybody for their time.
Our next candidate will be Brian Gingrich.
How do you spell it?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Gingrich. I think there's probably a good amount of people in the room that knows me. My resume did not get in time. It will be in the next month's paper. I will give you a kind of a quick rundown. I was president here for 5 years, from 2009 to 2014. During that time, we had a lot of problems. We had, like one of the gentlemen stated, we had no money, we had to recoup, we had to get money. That was done a lot of ways. We formed an amnesty committee that told the people, hey, come in and pay your dues, get caught up, and we'll let the fines go. They were lined up out the door to come in and pay. When that kind of ringing go up, I said, well, what's next? All right. We're going to put a lien on you if you don't pay. Again, out the door, they're lined up to pay. And my third and last move on that, to keep getting money in, if you didn't pay your dues, we'll put a judgment on you. I don't know how many of you know what happens if a judgment is put on you, but you will not buy a car. You will not get a credit card. You will do nothing until that judgment is satisfied. So some people kind of claimed I was a little rough, I was a little tough, but I think that's maybe the
kind of person you might need running your show is somebody that is just a little tough, so things get done. One of my first moves also that I made, I formed a committee. I don't know how long you've all been here, but the ponds were just totally trashed with lily pads. The growth was nuts. You couldn't do anything in there. You couldn't even drop a hook. So my wife volunteered with a couple of her friends, and the committee was formed. And to make it short and sweet, she was responsible. She got a crew in here. They cleaned up the lakes. If you look at the lakes today, she's responsible for that, starting 8 years ago. My wife is also your councilwoman, Sophia Gingrich, in case you don't know that. She does nothing but good for everybody, which I did when I was president of this board. I did nothing that was not good for this board. A little bit about me, I went to Middlesex County College when I got down here. Me and my wife were also involved. I took a course at the OCC for stormwater management because I'm also on the planning board for Berkeley Township, and I'm on the board of adjustments for Berkeley Township. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of structure. As you will see when you read my resume, I was in the transportation industry for 40 years. I also ran a banner towing operation. That's with airplanes towing signs on the beach. And it was a rather large company, but it was 11 airplanes. And we would run sometimes from Seaside Heights to Boston with banner. So it was no little eat at Joe's and it's a 10-minute little trip here. 11 airplanes going all the time, and it was quite intense.
1 minute remaining.
Am I a little overboard for whoever passed that one? Thank you very much. I'll be done here in 1 minute. That's true. I started out here when I first got here. I was president of the pool club, and then when I got onto the board, you couldn't be president of two things, so naturally I gave that up and became president of this board. A lot of people like to criticize our old boards and this board. Let me tell you something. Being on a board and taking care of this community, it's almost like a full-time, tough, intense job. You don't sit there and drink coffee and eat donuts. We have to know all the rules, all the laws, everything to run this community. I guess I'm finished. I'm getting the guy with the hook who's pulling me. Thank you very much. And if you feel like voting for me, that'd be very nice. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we come to our last candidate, which will be Mr. John McGuiness, seated next to me.
Hi, everybody. My name is John McGuiness, and I'm the president here for the past 2 years. Luckily, the board decided I could be president when COVID came, so that being said, at that time, I don't know if all of you remember, some of you might have partaken in it, but I did bring COVID testing to this parking lot. I arranged it so that people could line up in their car, come from their home, and not have to go anywhere else. And hopefully I did that for the community. I'm retired military. I served in Vietnam, got wounded twice, and was retired because of that. If you look at my resume, thank you, please. If you look at my resume, you see from when I was after the service, I've done nothing but try to help other things, other causes. I've coached basketball of Tom's River. I've coached Little League, West Orange, when I lived up there. And I've always been a part of some sort of civic activity. At first, years ago, my son told me, why don't you move to Holiday City? I kind of nixed it. Years ago, this place was kind of starting to run down. There were boards that came in and made improvements, and I think right up to this board, there have been improvements. I do want to clarify one thing. When we talk about the money that's spent in the community, I'm going to go back to the $60. As you all know, we had the chemical fire here, and we had to spend money as we went. We weren't getting the money from the insurance, and we needed to beef up the economy. Since that time, yes, now $300,000 has been allocated additionally to us by the insurance company. So I don't foresee any kind of increases in the near future. That was a necessary increase because we were running low, not having the funds supplied to us by the insurance company. I want to say one other thing regarding the parking lot. It's not true that we just gave up the parking lot. We had a situation there of a liability. There was a report of a stolen boat. It turns out the boat was never stolen. There was a conflicting report made by both the husband and wife. It went to court, cost us legal fees, and we were told we still had to settle. The judge ordered us to settle. I refused settling. The case is dead. The point I'm trying to make is, at the time, we had RVs in the lot that are worth $300,000. And if a claim came and we were told to settle, we would have depleted half of that money, whatever the cost of the RV would have been. It would have been depleted by half because we would have had to make up that money. So subsequently, the parking lot stayed empty. And that's when we found that the first aid squad was having some issues. And it was that, at that time, I thought that maybe we could solve two different issues, help the first aid squad to stay here. And I don't know if every one of the candidates was up for that. Some of the candidates want to give back the lot, but if that's the case, it might happen that we would lose the first aid squad. As opposed to a possible liability of $150,000 if someone's RV is gone. That being said, bylaws, we talk about the bylaws. Originally, we had seats that were supposed to be voted on last year. Because of COVID, we didn't do it. Someone went to the DCA, all well and good, and they agreed that there should be 6 seats open for the board. But I just want to say this. If you don't want to keep the old board, that's fine. And if you want to put new people in on the board, more than welcome. But remember this, if you put all new members, and we might possibly not have a 7th member, with Beverly being in the hospital. And if you initiate all new members of the board, and I'm not going to belittle whatever they might accomplish, but remember that it's going to take months without having prior knowledge of what the goings on day to day are. So that being said, that's me. Thank you all, and I wish all the candidates good luck. But thank you.
Brian and submitted my resume.
Yes, Rob, you were supposed to be up here. Come on up, Rob. All right, we have one other candidate, Mr. O'Brien, and he came in much after the paper. But actually, Bob, why don't you read your resume out? Because I thought it was
I
good.
don't have a copy, but that's what I'm going to talk about, basically.
Okay, you got it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is everybody here? Yeah, I submitted my resume late, so it wasn't in the newsletter. But that's what I'm talking about, because I do think my background and my resume is the assets that would be good for the board. I spent an entire lifetime working in a construction family, so from a very young age, I was self-employed as a contractor and a builder. In 1991, I started a home inspection business. Just a year later, I was elected to the board of directors of the National Association of Home Inspectors. Part of my duties there was traveling around the country and teaching new people coming into the business how to do home inspections. So I do have experience working on the board. I had people all over the country calling me for help. I would always answer them day and night, weekends. So I had extensive experience in construction and business. For the last 8 years, I've been employed by the Township of Berkeley. I was hired as a building inspector 8 years ago. After just 18 months, I was promoted the assistant construction official, because the administration had been told by many, many residents that they never saw a more customer-oriented, service-oriented person as a building inspector. I tell people every day on the job, as someone else mentioned, I work for you, you don't work for me. And that's how I operated as an employee of the township. We work for you. So I think that all my experience in my life as a businessman in construction and home inspections, and 8 years as assisting to run the building department, we've made a lot of improvements, and we're making more. And I moved into Berkeley in April of 19, and I just love it here. And I think that my experience in construction and running businesses and public service in the construction department, I think would be assets to serve on the board and to help make Berkeley Homeowners Association a better operation. Okay? And thank you very much, and I appreciate your vote.
Robert O'Brien. Before you go,
You should sit down here.
I have to ask, is that Captain George back there? No. Is it? Cap, could you come up, please? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain George from the First Aid Squad. He wants to make a brief. Yes.
Just come on up and if you want to say a few words to everybody. This is the man that is the head of our First Aid Squad. When people are in need, they show up. Stuff, Captain.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is George Edgar, Captain of First Aid Squad here in Berkeley. I'd like to thank all of you for the donations that you always give us every year. And it's a struggle keeping our First Aid Squad up to date. We don't charge anything. The maintenance on our building and the trucks and lunch and things like that costs us quite a bit. But people like yourselves and the rest of Holiday City have been doing real well. When you close the parking lot up, we took it over, thanks to the board that you have now. It's been helping us quite a bit. We had a couple of old trucks that needed to be repaired and worked on, and it's been helping a lot. And I'd just like to say thank you, and it's the first year we've not making too much money here. But the second year we got a tree line fence that they want to put up. That's going to cost us $10,000. So it's not going to be a lot of money the first couple of years, but it will help as we go along. And I would just like to say thank you very much. And I've been here since 2005. This board is one of the best boards I've worked with since I'm here. I came here in 2005 and 2006. I joined the squad, and in 2008 they made me captain, and I've been captain since then. And we come and it's a simple fall. We go out there, and it costs us money to go out and pick you up all the way up to Hardwick. We never charge a dime for anything. We have a night crew that works. They're a pay squad. We used to have a pay squad that not only took the insurance, but then anything the insurance paid, didn't pay, you were charged. Well, between the mayor and myself, that squad left. We now have a nice squad that got started, and they're not overcharged, they're taking what they call a soft billing. But it takes quite a bit. And even the mayor is seeing that it takes quite a bit of money to keep the squad running and up to date. And because of people like yourselves and the whole community, we've been doing all right now. I just want to say thank you very much for everything you've done.
Thank you. Thanks, Captain.
At this time, Vince will take the question.
We have about 8 questions. As I said in the beginning, a lot of the questions are addressed to someone by the name of Penny. I'll try to get to the ones that are specific. Well, one question goes to a candidate
mic.
Well, obviously they knew which it was. Question number one, why do you want to eliminate the first aid squad? Question. He's going to address question number one first.
Okay, thank you. I do not want to eliminate the first aid squad. And I think that we should be helping them, but I don't think that we should be doing it around the bylaws. Our bylaws say that the association gets to vote if you want to lease that property to them. Okay, they circumvented that rule and made a use and occupancy agreement that is illegal. It does not protect us. Okay? I'm for, let's run dances, let's do some, contributions, let's do something for them. Let them use the clubhouse, let them do different things, coin tosses like every other community. Why are we paying the bill and no other community is chipping in? Are we like exclusive here? The point is, it wasn't done legally. I admire Captain George. I've met the man. He's innocent to the whole thing. If the vote was taken and given to the first aid squad, I'm 100% with it. But this board decided we don't need a vote. We're just doing it. And that's illegal. And they become liable, and they don't know all the bylaws. I know a lot of them. They are liable for that loss of income to us. This is not over until it's done right.
Question number two from Mike. Mike, you have a second question. You're very popular. Do you intend to bring in a management company?
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. But how can we make a decision like that without looking at the records, the past records, the expenses? I feel that the expense, over $700,000, as a matter of fact, close to $1 million, goes to our employees, their benefits, the accountant, and the lawyer. I think that's outrageous. I think that we could save money. Okay, I think that I'm not for a maintenance company. I like one-on-one. I've been a builder my whole life. Okay, what we didn't have was qualified people giving work to maintenance people that were not qualified to do the work. We are stuck. That stonework out there is disgraceful. I would get sued if I tried to collect money from them.
Our next question is for Eddie, and I presume this is for the non-members that are running. What changes are they looking to make as new representatives? So if one or two of the people seated behind me that are not current board members may want to step up to the podium and address that question.
I think the main thing we want to do is include you all, have you all vote on what we do here. No one person makes the decision, no board makes the decision. We all live here, we all have to pay dues here, so we all vote for it. It has to be done. That's the main thing that has to be done here. Everybody has to be together, everybody has to want the same thing, and it has to come out of the same pot, and we're all paying for it. Not fair. Everybody should chip in.
Thank you. Your most popular candidate has the name Annie. We'll ask Annie to come up again.
This last one? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we have Brian Gingrich wants to address what changes are they looking to make as new representatives?
I'm not talking about what changes I would make. I'm talking about the question that was just asked and answered. Once again, I have found over the last 10 years that somebody will read a paragraph, and when they get to where they think the question was answered, they will stop. The only problem is, there's a whole nother rest of that paragraph they didn't bother to read because they got the answer they think that they want. You gotta read the whole entire question to give a good answer. A lot of times it's not done. In this instance, I don't think it was done. This board, they're doing the best they can do, and you don't want to be in their position, or else you'd be up here wanting to run. You read the whole.
That wasn't the question.
No, that wasn't. Stop. We may. This is candidates night. Let it be that way.
It's over the 5 minutes, though, and it took more than
It's
that.
not five, it's 5 minutes. He's answering a question, ma'am.
But
That I answered, that
we have a
So you people are not going to.
we have a 2-minute limitation on speakers, so it needs to finish up.
So that's what you need to be done.
Stop your own horn.
If everyone in the audience would please allow the candidates to address the questions and maybe say comments until the end. The next one, and once again, is for Emmy. And I presume this is for the people running that are not current board members. What will you do to keep HOA fees from not increasing? That's the first question. Second question, what can be done about the awful lawn service? So maybe that's a question for the current board. That is a question for the current board.
Hold on, we got Joe's coming up.
First part of the question, what will you do to keep the HOA fees from not increasing?
Okay. It's a tough question. Dues always, for the most part, always go up in an HOA.
Hold it to your mouth.
The point is when it goes up is important. Why they went up in April 2020, I don't know. I had just moved in, okay? I've heard rumors that it went, as Mike said, to the salary of many of the incompetent maintenance people that work here, okay? How is it going to not go up? We have to adjust the budget, look at the budget, balance the budget, cut expenses where expenses can be cut, and put money where it needs to be spent. It's basically accounting 101. If I'm on the board, and the other people are on the board, I'm suggesting we get an accountant, a volunteer, to be on the finance committee, to really understand and work with our finances, not just balance a budget, and not have P&Ls that are a month late. Dues going up, it happens. Does it happen every year? Hopefully not. Does it go up in 2 years? Hopefully not. I don't want to pay any more than we're paying now. I come from an HOA where I was paying $300 a month, going up $10 every year. So, I hope I answered the question. It's a matter of 7 people getting together with an accountant and going over the budget, line by line by line, cutting expenses where you can, and just running a complete balanced budget.
Okay, thank you. I would ask that the people that are responding, the respective board members, to limit it to 2 minutes. The next question, once again, this is a question to any. I don't think there's anybody up here that, these are for all the people who are not current trustees. Question 1 is, have you volunteered for any club or, shoot. The second question, how many meetings have you attended?
I think this question is about the lawn service. We're all not happy with it. We hope to review that. We hope to get a better thing. I think they went with this because it was saving a lot of money. They thought in time it was going to work out. Well, it didn't work out. So hopefully we're going to be able to do something. That's what the new board is saying. We also are hoping that this present board, like John said, if we all voted, nobody's going to be here to help us do it. We hoped that they would help transition us through. That's what boards do. They help the new board in. This board's telling us. We haven't even won the election. He's already telling us how he's going to walk out and we're going to have stand with our hands on our ass and plain English.
Did I
They don't
ever,
take it down.
hold on, said we're gonna stand by.
You
No, I
said-
said that. I said it would be a turmoil for new members, all for the whole board. No matter how much input you can get, we might as well stay on the board. It's not a matter that we're not arguing.
You
No one
said-
I said what?
You said, and this audience heard it, that if you get all these new members in here, it's gonna be very hard for them to get anything ahead, because one of them will be here, and nobody's gonna know what they're doing. That's exactly what he said. Didn't he say that? That nobody's gonna know what they're doing.
All right, Judy.
This is a discussion about members, about the new committee, and what they're gonna do and what they're not gonna do. We're gonna do everything we can, and we're gonna hope that these people are decent enough to help what was going on before and lead us to what had to be done. If they don't, well, I know we'll manage somehow. That's why we're getting a new board.
Can we move on? I would prefer that we do this to continue on, that we keep a level of civility. The last thing that I mentioned was, you can ask any of the people behind me, how many of you volunteered for a club, and how many meetings have you attended? So, I mean, that's a general question. You know what the board members are, the people behind me, I'm sure they've attended club meetings, I'm sure they've attended meetings, so that's not really a question that could get a direct answer. The next one is to all board members. How did you get 6 seats open for this election? And what bylaws were not followed about leasing our property for $1? I believe when Mike was up, was it Mike?
Yes.
You addressed that. About the property.
No, this is about getting 6 seats open, which was my.
No, this was the
$1.
second question. The second question was, what bylaws were not followed about leasing our property for $1?
What bylaw?
Okay, and we'll try to limit it if you could to 2 minutes.
Several bylaws. Number 1, the voting bylaw. The binding minute bylaw. The conduct unbecoming of a director bylaw. You are not allowed one director to make a deal, especially with our lease, or whatever they want to call it. Okay, I have a copy of the use and occupants agreement with one signature on it, John McGuiness, the president. I've been fighting with him since November of last year about this parking lot, telling me, and I have recordings, I have paperwork, I have everything you need to verify that what I'm telling you is true.
I think you've answered the question, Mike. The first part of that was, and I'm not trying to rush it, but we can get into a long debate and discussion, and then we won't be able to listen to the other questions. The other one was, how did you get 6 seats open for the election? I presume one of the current board members, or John, might want to address that.
Well, it was explained that one of the candidates, when they wanted to run for the board, and I challenged their running because they hadn't attended 5 meetings, which were in our bylaws. Subsequently, that candidate went to the DCA.
Turn yours on now, John.
Good? All right. I'll back it up again. So what happened, originally, we had somebody that applied for the board, and I told them that our bylaws required that they attend 5 meetings, which hadn't happened. That person then went to the DCA and had the DCA request that we have 6 seats open. We didn't fight it, we went with the DCA. In our opinion, there should have been no more than 4 or 5, and one was questionable. But the DCA ordered it so that overruled our bylaws.
Okay, thank you, John. The next one is, again, to the current board. How long are members allowed to be on the board, or term limits?
Yes, it is.
Well, one of the board members needs to respond. I can't.
It's 2 each year. It should be 2 seats, and 3 seats. Everybody hear that? 2 seats, and 3 seats, respectively, each year. That should be the amount of rotation.
But I think the question is on term limits. How many terms can a board member serve consecutively?
There's nothing in the bylaws that say it. So if a board member is up, but no one runs in that year, then the board member just stays on and is elected by one vote by the secretary. That's how it works.
Okay.
No.
Section 2 of that question, are they allowed to move within to different positions on the board?
Yes, the board elects different positions. We nominate amongst ourselves, and that for each of the officers, which would be president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. And then the other 3 directors are directors. And then jobs are assigned and worked out for each director. And just, I want to say something about a comment, my name being the only one, because that was on the contract, and as president, I would be the one to sign it. That's why it's one name on the contract, as there was one name for the first aid squad.
Another that went to any, and I presume this is to John. Why did it take until September 19th to get insurance when the property was, quote, sold for $1 in April?
The insurance would be the responsibility of the first aid squad. We alleviated the need for any insurance because of the fact that we would have suffered liability, and again, that's why we transferred it. We gave them a lease for $1. It was, hopefully, it would have been useful for everybody, because that's the only ambulance service that comes here and doesn't charge you. They do it freely, so we thought that would be the way to go.
Okay. We'll move on to the next question. Once again, the question is, I presume this is to the board, to John. So are you planning on getting a whole new maintenance crew?
That wouldn't be for me. We're not getting ready for maintenance, though. That's gotta be for somebody else.
Maybe this would be addressed to the non-current candidates behind that. Does Mike, somebody want to be a spokesperson for that group?
What is it? I'm sorry, what is it? I didn't hear the question.
Judy. Repeat
The question was, are you planning on getting a whole new maintenance crew?
No, we're not. We're not.
No,
Okay. No, right?
Maintenance crew staying, we are not having no maintenance crew. If we're only have 3, that's all we have for now. Right, we have 4? Oh, I'm sorry, but we all have
3 maintenance, 1 janitor.
Janitor involved.
Okay, so 4 people, 4.
Right.
4 of staff. There's no reason to get rid of it at all.
Next question is for Mike. Michael Edgar?
Yeah.
He seems to be very popular.
Yes.
Did you volunteer or do anything when Channel 2 had to be redone after the fire? When Clubhouse 2 had to be redone after the fire? Did you volunteer or do anything?
I offered to help, and I was told that I could run the food truck. You want to volunteer and help us? You can run the food truck. And I have to say that what the president said about the DCA is totally false. I have a written letter from the DCA explaining why 6 seats were open, and it wouldn't have happened if I didn't file a complaint. The complaint was not about last year, it was about this year. And I'll offer it to anybody to read. As a matter of fact, I submitted it as a rebuttal, and they wouldn't put it in the bulletin, after agreeing that they would put it in the bulletin.
That question's been addressed, thank you.
Yeah, well, I got answers too.
The next question is for Judy. Judy?
Hello?
If you win, will you stop feeding the deer?
I don't feed the deer. You're allowed to have a bird feeder, but you're allowed to have 3 bird feeders, but they have to be a minimum of 4 feet off the ground, and I comply very much to that. The deer happen to like your bird seed too, so what can I tell you? I'm feeding the birds with the deer, but God bless them. I hope they eat it well.
two people, Mike and Mike. I presume,
Let the other mic go. Go ahead.
well, it's Mike and Mike.
Hey, Mike and Mike.
Mike and Mike, come on. Mike.
Luckily, these aren't signed. It says in July's meeting, both of you two were very disruptive, yelling at the existing board. I would not want someone like that on my board. Would you like to be yelled at while you were on the board? It's a statement, not a question.
I think you have the wrong person, though. I wasn't yelling at the board. I had a question about the internet, so it wasn't me. So.
Yes, I did get very upset, but I was goaded into it because they wouldn't answer the question that John said that they contacted the DCF. They were projecting 2 seats were going to be open this year, and everybody in that meeting were asking, how many seats are going to be open? I was asked 5 times. The lawyer was sitting in the building, and we can't get an answer. I had the answer. And that's what happened. What happened in the June 9th meeting, where John exploded, broke code of conduct.
Mike, I think we're getting beyond the question. This is not a debate.
Okay.
We have 2 questions remaining. One, I'm sorry, but I'm having difficulty reading. Dear Carol?
Keep on asking me questions.
Popcorn, zoo, and other local vets and assist with shots for birth control.
Yes.
Do you know who they're from? Deer.
It looks like the deer.
That should be gone to Judy.
The second question, do you know how many people were at the pool that are residents? Does anybody want to acknowledge that they wrote this? The second question says, do you know how many people
In the back.
use the pool that are residents?
They're the ones who wrote it.
We can't hear you.
Would you like to come up and use the microphone because nobody can hear you?
I think she was asking something about birth control.
You want me to clean my birds?
That's funny.
The question is, can we think a little bit outside the box when it comes to the deer and the control of the deer? I lived in another state. They had a problem with the wild horses. A bunch of the ranchers got together, contacted vets, and they came in and would give the female horse a shot so that year they could not give birth. So my question is, can we get Popcorn Zoo or other to reach out to them and see if it becomes the solution?
Good idea.
That would be a question for the team.
That's a good idea.
John was right. That's a question.
That's a question for the town.
It's
not.
Hey.
It's not. We have, in many instances, we spoke with the town, and we're told different things at different times sometimes. I've spoke to somebody and said, you're allowed to feed the deer on your own property. But listen, that's what I was told that once. Then the next time I was told, you can't feed them at all, especially on community property, on open area. Okay, we've talked to the town. They do everything they can to try to control the population. But to be honest, when the deer are being fed, you're going to have problems with the deer. And that's a fact. They're going to be over, they're going to eat your plants. Personally, I love animals. That's not an issue. The issue is feeding them prevents them from finding their own food and living a natural life. And feeding them does cause them to come in bundles and groups. I mean, we've had complaints where 20 or 30 deer were eating in someone's backyard. I understand, but again,
the number of deer that are being hit by cars because people are going a bit fast around this place.
Yes.
And I'm just saying,
is a debate, not a...
Well, I understand you say we can, but how would we eliminate it? We try everything we can. We don't have the authority to deal with it. It is up to the town. They deal with it. Berkeley Township, that's where we live. Yes, that's it. Berkeley, it would be Berkeley Township.
You know, there was one deer that was walking around limp for about a year. He had a band on his foot or something. And that thing was walking around, and all of a sudden I seen him back. He didn't have the band on there anymore. He's got a white spot on his back. He's got a tag on his ear. So somebody must have captured him and took that band off. So there is somebody that is caring for him. It might be popcorn, but you might be able to start with them and tell them, is there anything? And like I said, as far as the bird feeders, maybe we could put birth control on the bird feed.
These are issues.
Yeah.
These are issues in every community in the coalition.
Please,
These are issues that every association in the coalition is faced with. The deer problem. The county of Ocean County and Berkeley Township do not recognize that there is a problem. They do. You can look at it because I can see 17 deer out my backyard at night. But the town says they don't pose an existential problem because they can roam. They go from place to place. So that's something that you could bring up to the county. You could bring up to Fish and Wildlife. But the association itself has no control over that, none whatsoever. The last question that we had, I presume, was to Brian. When you were president, we were in the red. Why are you running again?
Well, you know. I'm going to answer that question a very nice way. When this board took over, we were $77,000 in the red. That's what we walked into. When I retired from the board, we had $400,000 in the bank. Whoever wants to know that question, why don't you stand up and answer me again? I took this place from 77 in the red to 400. Nice. Now, if somebody has a problem with that, you still want to be 77,000 in the red, well, then you have a problem, not me.
I would like to thank you all for allowing me to moderate
Can we
this
have a little courtesy, please?
You want to ask a question? Well, then come up to the podium. Again, it was a privilege to be here and moderate this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is like being in my own association because the questions are all the same.
Hi. My question is, when it comes to voting, because I'm not used to this, do we have to vote all 6 new people, or can we do like 4 of the new and keep 2 on the board?
Whatever you want.
So it can be
Whatever
mixed.
you want.
So when you were mentioning if we vote all new people in, they're kind of screwed because they won't know what's going on. But if we kept 1 person from the original board, that wouldn't be an issue,
It wouldn't
correct?
hurt. You have somebody who has some knowledge on the board.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
All right.
Somebody sent this up, and I'd like to thank you, and I want to read it, please. I don't know who sent it up. To John, Mario, and the men and women that have served in the service, thank you. For all current board members, thank you for your hard work, bringing us out of receivership, we forgot to mention that, and improving our community. If the homeowners want more services, improvements to the community, it costs money. Nothing is free. The money has to come from the share owners. Don't believe everything you're being told. Double check and ask questions. Educate from somebody. Thank you. At this time, I would like to thank everybody for showing up, for your interest in the community, whichever way it goes. Thank you for having interest, and keep it all through the next years you're here, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to everyone.
I need a cigarette.
So we get
How come we don't get like a closing argument?
Well, that's because
Closing statement.
Patriaco.
Hi,
All
how
right?
are you?
I'm good. I
Okay.
want to talk to you alone for a second.
Okay, sure. Anything you want to know?
You guys would have a clean sweep if you got rid of us. Come on. She's horrible. Mom, that just came off the street. Oh my God. Yeah, well, listen. Let me tell you something. Mary, she's great. I mean, she would definitely help your whole group. And I wish that I was more involved in this. I'm still working for a union because I would have been up there fighting with everything that you're talking about. Okay, I mean, I've worked for lawyers for 27 years. This is all bullshit. Let me tell you something. My question, which I didn't ask, because I know it's been discussed so many times, we went up $60 in our fees, higher than any of the other communities. During a year that there were no fucking expenses.
We're closed.
They turned around and they said that the expenses went up because of the pool. The pool was covered by the insurance. So they said that the money didn't come in, that's why they had to do it. So when the money came in, why didn't they give us a refund?
Are you part of the Holiday City group? Are you in that group, Facebook group?
The next door?
No.
No.
Holiday City.
Members of Holiday City.
you did good.
They were picking
See? I did it.
What? I'm sorry.
Who chose him to be? I didn't know you lived here.
I didn't know you lived here either.
See that?
I've been here for 20 years.
You didn't see me at the podium having a meeting with that guy Brian, telling him his time was up. Goodbye. That was me. That was me.
Where did they pull Brian Gingrich out of their hat? No, I'm working for she's such a horrible disabled woman.
I don't have it on here.
I'm glad I was in now.
Hold on a second. I'm going to stop this.